You are about to discover a question so powerful, so transformative, that when used correctly before sleep, it can literally make the universe bend reality in your favor. This is not a trick. It's not superstition. It's the science of consciousness. And more importantly, it's a key that very few people know about, and even fewer know how to use. But if you're tired of repeating the same cycles, if you feel this year cannot end the same way as all the previous ones, then stop everything now and pay attention. Because this question will place you at the center of your own transformation. And best of all, it's just 3 words. Before I reveal it, I want you to comment below. How did I manage? Declare it as if it were already real. Write it with firmness, with faith, with surrender. This is more than just a phrase. It is the beginning of a new, vibrational reality. Get ready, because after today, you will never be the same. To understand the true power of this simple question, we need to look at the discoveries of one of the greatest scholars of consciousness, Jacobo Grinberg. Unlike traditional scientists, Grinberg dove deep into the hidden dimensions of the human mind. His work combined neuroscience, spirituality, and ancient traditions to reveal a disconcerting truth. Reality is not fixed. It is shaped by the structure of your consciousness. According to Grinberg, there exists a neuronal field, an invisible matrix, that connects your mind to the essence of the universe, and this field responds directly to the inner states you cultivate, especially at the most powerful moment of the day, before sleep. Interestingly, another master of manifestation, Neville Goddard, pointed to the very same moment. He called it the hypnagogic state, when the conscious mind drifts off and the subconscious opens like fertile soil, ready to accept any seed you plant. And it's in this sacred instant that the question, how did I manage, works as an activation code. It doesn't demand logic. It doesn't seek explanations. It simply assumes the desire is fulfilled. This is where science and spirituality meet, when you stop trying and begin living as if it were already real. Throughout our lives, we often ask questions in moments of shock, surprise, or admiration. How did he do that? How could someone possibly achieve this? How is that even possible? These questions are natural. They arise automatically in the face of the unexpected, and that is precisely why they carry almost hypnotic power. They instantly activate our subconscious in the search for answers. Neville Goddard noticed something revolutionary within this common reaction. He realized that if we directed this same structure of questioning toward our own already fulfilled desires, we could trigger a creative response from the subconscious, one that not only accepts this new reality as true, but also begins to reorganize the world around us to sustain that truth. That is why the question, how did I manage, is so powerful. It doesn't project doubt. It doesn't project lack. It assumes the desire has already been achieved. By asking, how did I get that dream job, or how did I become financially free, you're starting from the point of arrival. It's no longer about waiting, wishing, or imagining. It's about mentally living the scene after the achievement. By using this verbal structure, you bypass mental resistance. The rational mind, which normally reacts with denial or skepticism to direct affirmations like I am rich or I am loved, is disarmed by the question. It slips into curiosity, allowing the subconscious, which doesn't distinguish between imagination and reality, to accept the suggestion as a finished fact. On top of that, the very act of asking activates the brain's automatic search system, known as the reticular activating system, RAS. This system filters everything you perceive in your environment and begins to seek, interpret, and highlight information that aligns with the question you're asking. In other words, by repeating, how did I manage, your brain silently begins to organize your perceptions and behaviors as if you had already achieved what you desire. This question also activates a very specific emotional state, one of positive surprise, of unexpected gratitude. It's an elevated vibrational state, and as both quantum physics and spirituality teach us, it's vibration that attracts experience, not mere desire. Therefore, the real magic of the question, "How did I manage?" lies in its ability to sidestep fear, neutralize doubt, and install within the subconscious a storyline where success is already real. The mind doesn't fight the question, it works in its favor. And when the mind works in favor of something, the universe obeys. There is a sacred moment that happens every day, and almost no one notices it. It's that brief instant between wakefulness and sleep, when your body begins to fully relax, your eyes close, and your mind is still just awake enough to think, but already on the edge of slipping into deep sleep. This is what we call the hypnagogic state, one of the most powerful moments to reprogram your mind and shape your reality. Neville Goddard called this moment the gateway to the subconscious. Modern science recognizes it too. During the hypnagogic state, the brain shifts out of beta frequency, linked to logic and reasoning, and into alpha and theta waves, the same ones that dominate a child's mind in the first years of life, when everything is absorbed without resistance, without judgment, and becomes inner truth. That's why everything you think, feel, or imagine in this moment goes straight into the root of your being. Unlike when you're fully awake, in the hypnagogic state, there is no critical filter that normally analyzes, questions, or rejects ideas that seem too good to be true. The subconscious is receptive, vulnerable, open. It absorbs as truth everything you deliver with feeling. Unfortunately, most people waste this moment. When they lie down to sleep, they replay the frustrations of the day, dwell on debts, worries, rejections, hurts, scarcity. Without realizing it, they feed exactly the kind of reality they want to avoid, and they do it at the most sensitive time of the brain. The result? The unconscious repetition of patterns of lack, fear, and stagnation. But when you learn to use this moment wisely, something extraordinary happens. By entering this state and planting the question, "How did I manage?" you create a direct bridge to the subconscious. You're not just wishing or imagining, you're instructing your deepest mind to accept a new identity, and the subconscious, the invisible engine of your reality, begins to turn gears you cannot see. Ideas, coincidences, intuitions, opportunities, encounters. Jacobo Grinberg affirmed that in this state, the mind sheds the chains of linear perception and connects to the neuronal field, the vibrational matrix from which reality emerges. In that field, what you feel is more important than what you think, and what you feel in that moment determines what you will live tomorrow. Therefore, the hypnagogic state is not just a time of rest. It is the laboratory where you manufacture tomorrow. And if you plant the right question, with the right feeling, your reality will only be the natural consequence of the seed you chose to cultivate before sleep. There is something even more powerful than words: emotions felt with intensity. They are the true language of creation. While many believe thoughts alone are enough to shape reality, those who understand the deeper mechanisms of the subconscious know it is feeling that determines the outcome. Neville Goddard often emphasized that the true key to manifestation is not desire itself, but the feeling of the desire fulfilled. And when you ask yourself, "How did I manage?" what follows is what truly matters. A subtle emotion begins to rise. Something between surprise, gratitude, and that gentle joy that comes when life gifts you something unexpected. Think about it. Have you ever received news so good it left you speechless? An unexpected compliment, a positive answer, a magical moment that seemed impossible. In that moment, what you felt wasn't a thought. It was a living, real, almost sacred emotion. That's exactly the emotional state the question, "How did I manage?" aims to activate. By mentally projecting yourself into the scene where your greatest desire has already happened, you trigger the emotion of "it's already real." And that emotion, when felt sincerely, sends a vibrational signal so clear to the universe that reality cannot ignore it. Because according to quantum laws and Grinberg's teachings, the universe responds to frequency, not intention. Many people get frustrated because they pray, visualize, affirm, but they don't feel. They repeat phrases like empty mantras, expecting cold words to bring transformation. But the subconscious doesn't respond to memorized lines. It responds to what you feel as truth. That is why the state of anticipatory gratitude is so powerful. When you feel gratitude for something that hasn't happened yet, you're telling your mind and the vibrational field, this is already mine. And if it's yours, your vibration aligns with that reality, and the universe begins to mirror it in your experiences. Surprise is also a key emotion. The act of being surprised creates emotional openness, a moment when the mind releases control and accepts the impossible as possible. When you sincerely ask, "How did I manage that?" you're evoking that exact feeling, the surprise of victory. And the most incredible part, these emotions are reproducible. You don't need to wait for something to happen to feel gratitude or joy. You can summon those feelings now through imagination, and the subconscious will register them as real. So, each night when you enter this emotional state before sleep, you are not just thinking about your new reality, you are living it from within. And when that happens, it's only a matter of time before the external world bends to reflect that inner truth. Most people believe reality is a fixed, objective, solid structure. They see the world as something out there to which they simply react. But Jacobo Grinberg, one of the most visionary scientists of the 20th century, challenged this paradigm with a bold proposition. The reality you live is not external, it is projected from your own mind. Grinberg dedicated his life to the study of consciousness, and after years of research with shamans, ancient traditions, and neuroscientific models, developed the theory of the neuronal field. According to him, there is an invisible field of information, a vibrational matrix that connects everything and everyone. Your perception, your thoughts, and your emotions modulate this field, determining how you see, experience, and attract the events of your life. This field doesn't respond to physical effort, but to mental and emotional frequencies. And more importantly, it doesn't distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. For the neuronal field, what you feel as true is automatically interpreted as reality. This is where the teachings of Neville Goddard and Jacobo Grinberg meet. When you ask, "How did I manage?" and that question is soaked with emotion, gratitude, and surrender, you are broadcasting a frequency that matches the desired outcome. The neuronal field then reorganizes possibilities, connecting people, situations, and decisions that make this new reality begin to manifest. Grinberg also showed that the human mind has unconscious filters that shape what we perceive. He called this the structure of perception. This structure acts like a lens, and everything you live passes through it. If that lens is programmed with scarcity, fear, and limitation, then even real opportunities will be ignored. Not for lack of luck, but because your mind doesn't even recognize them. But if, through conscious repetition and techniques like "How did I manage?" you alter this lens, your perception expands. You begin to see what was once invisible, feel more intuition, encounter synchronicities, and realize that what once seemed impossible is unfolding right before your eyes. Grinberg's great revelation is that reality is plastic and mutable, but only for those who assume control of their consciousness. It is not the world that shapes your mind. It is your mind that shapes the world. Therefore, by applying Neville Goddard's question at the very moment when the subconscious is most receptive, you are not merely wishing for something. You are reconnecting with the creative field of existence, turning possibilities into facts, and stepping into your true role, that of co-creator of your own reality. Knowing that something is powerful is not enough. You must practice it with intention, precision, and consistency. Neville Goddard's revealed technique, the simple question, "How did I manage?" may seem too subtle to create profound effects. But when applied correctly, especially before sleep, it becomes a mental reprogramming tool capable of completely redesigning your reality. Here's the practical step-by-step to apply this technique every night. 1. Choose one single desire. First of all, choose one single desire that, if fulfilled, would significantly change your life. It could be financial prosperity, a loving relationship, a health transformation, a career breakthrough. What matters is that it's clear and specific. The subconscious doesn't respond well to scattered energy. It responds to crystalline focus. 2. Turn the desire into a question in the past. Now turn that desire into an already fulfilled question, starting with, "How did I manage?" Examples. How did I manage to achieve financial freedom with such ease? How did I manage to find such a full and true relationship? How did I manage to restore my health so quickly? This question must be asked as if the accomplishment had already happened. You are looking back on it with surprise and gratitude. 3. Enter a state of deep relaxation. Lie down comfortably and let your body relax completely. Inhale deeply and exhale slowly. The idea is to access the hypnagogic state where the conscious mind dissolves and the subconscious opens. This is the fertile soil where the new programming will be planted. 4. Repeat the question lightly and with feeling. With your eyes closed, begin to repeat your question mentally, not with anxiety, not expecting logical answers. Just let it float in your mind, like a gentle thought, almost like daydreaming. The secret is in the emotion attached. Feel truly surprised, delighted, as if it were already real. 5. Briefly visualize the reality achieved. As you repeat the question, visualize simple but impactful scenes of the life you want to live. See your bank account with a positive balance. Feel the touch of a loved one. Picture yourself smiling in perfect health. Don't force elaborate images. Simply evoke the sensation of the desired reality. 6. Remain in this state until you fall asleep. Here's the golden point. Fall asleep with that feeling alive in your body. The subconscious must receive the message without interruptions from the logical mind. When you drift off in that state, you're telling the universe, "This is my truth now." Repeat this for 7 consecutive nights, as if it were a sacred ritual. And then, observe. Maybe not on the first day, but soon. Subtle changes will begin to appear. Synchronicities, ideas, encounters, opportunities. Not because you wished for it, but because you became it. The practice, when done sincerely, does not fail. Because reality must respond to the mind that has already accepted its new identity. There is a turning point on the path of manifestation, and it is not in technique, time, or effort. It lies in the identity you assume. As long as you desire something from a place of lack, the universe understands that what vibrates is absence. But when you begin to live as someone who has already achieved, everything changes. The path reorganizes, and the world begins to treat you as the version you decided to be. Neville Goddard taught that the secret is not to desire, it is to assume the state of the desire fulfilled. And that state is not a fantasy, it is a new way of behaving, thinking, feeling, and acting. You begin to walk, speak, breathe, and decide as if what you want were already part of your reality. That is the essence of co-creation. The outer world does not start the change. It only responds to the inner transformation. Imagine a person who wants to be a millionaire. If they act afraid of spending, feel insecure talking about money, complain about scarcity, they are still vibrating as someone who is not. But when that person begins to take excellent care of the little they have, studies prosperity, carries themselves with confidence and gratitude, they send a clear signal to the neuronal field. This is my identity now. And the field responds with events, people, ideas, and pathways aligned with that new vibration. It's not magic, it's alignment. The same applies to love, health, personal fulfillment. The identity you carry defines the limits of what you can experience. It's like a role you play in a play. If you insist on seeing yourself as the supporting character, you will never get the protagonist's lines. But if you claim the leading role, the script changes because you have changed. And this identity transformation doesn't need to wait for great external achievements. It begins within, silently. You decide, with intention, that you already are, that you already live, that you have already achieved. And that decision begins to shape your thoughts, your actions, your posture. You resonate with the life you desire. The question, how did I manage, is a portal into that identity. By repeating it, you are not only activating the subconscious, you are reinforcing a new version of yourself, one who already lives the life once only dreamed of. And the more you repeat this pattern, the more natural it becomes. Until the moment arrives when the external world has no choice but to reflect the image you sustain within. This is not about waiting for the future to happen. It's about embodying the future in the present so that the path becomes inevitable. Because true identity does not depend on what you see, it shapes what you see. You are not becoming something. You are revealing who you already were all along. Now that you know the technique, understand the science behind it, and feel the power it carries, the decision is in your hands. Nothing will change just by knowing. Real transformation begins when you apply. That is why the challenge is set. For 7 consecutive nights before sleep, enter a state of relaxation. Repeat your question with emotion. How did I manage? And immerse yourself in the identity of the one who already lives this reality. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for the world to change first. You change within, and the world responds. And now, I invite you to leave your complete phrase in the comments as a declaration of faith and vibrational openness. Write, how did I manage? Complete it with your already fulfilled desire. Write it as if it were true. Declare it as someone who has already won. If this content touched you, subscribe to the channel. Activate notifications. Share it with someone who also needs to assume a new identity and transform their reality. Remember, the universe doesn't respond to effort. It responds to certainty. You don't need to chase after the life you want. You need to become the one who already lives it.